Hello everyone. I am Nilesh Kumar Sen, Assistant Professor, ABES Engineering College, Ghaziabad. Today in this lecture series, we are going to learn about contiguous memory allocation. So, contiguous memory allocation is what? Setting up the partition boundaries of and allocate one single contiguous block of memory to a single process. Now let us take an example. Consider that this is our main memory and it is having partitions. Those are contiguous in nature. Considering that this is the part of main memory is of size 20 MB, which is having operating system. Later we are having 40 MB of partitions. Then we are having 10 MB of partitions and 25 MB and 5 MB. These are the partitions that we contiguous allocated for the main memory. Now suppose consider that there are some processes that want to accommodate for processing, in which process P1 requires 35 of MB of main memory. So in this very partition, there is a block of 40 MB that will accommodate the process P1, and remaining 5 MB block will be kept as empty. And there is one more process P2, which is of size 22 MB. So this cannot accommodate in this very place as it is of 10 MB size. Here it can also not accommodate it as it is 5 MB of size. So the best place it would be 25 MB size block. So here the portion of this block will be left blank. So now in fixed partitioning, there are two different methods. One is equal size partitioning and another one is unequal size partitioning. So first of all, fixed partitioning, in which at configuration time we allocate partitions of different sizes for the memory. Those are fixed number of partitions. It is also known as static partition, and boundaries of partitions are fixed, meaning that this first part is of 20 MB, so this cannot be further increased or decreased, and this cannot be moved. This is also known as MFT, means multi-programming with fixed number of tasks. There is one more thing, that is spanning. What does that spanning means? Spanning says that we cannot break down the process into number of smaller sub processes, and this is not allowed. In that case that we discussed, there is a 5 MB of memory and there is 3 of 3 MB of memory is wastage, and such wastage of memory is known as fragmentation. So wastage of memory is what? Fragmentation. Fragmentation is of two types. One is internal fragmentation and other one is external fragmentation. Now consider that as this was the partitions of unequal size. Since there is a partition of 5 MB, 25 MB, 10 MB, 40 MB, and 20 MB. All those partitions are not equal in size, hence it is considered as unequal size partition. And considering that this is what are equal size partition and each partition is of 20 MB. Now, what happens if process P1 came into existence and it wants to accommodate 35 of MB? So process P1 could not get executed as there is not enough partition available that can accommodate process P1. So that was the drawback of equal size partitioning. If the process came into existence and it is the greater than the size of the partition block, so it cannot get placed into the main memory. Now let us take one more example of fragmentations, of internal fragmentations. This is what we discussed, that the remaining part of a block after allocating a process, that such part is known as internal fragmentation. And the leftover part of memory, which is not allocated to any other processes and left blank, are considered as external fragmentations. So internal fragmentation means the fragmentation which is internal part of allocated partition, and external fragmentation due to unallocated partitions. Till now, we discussed that what is fragmentation. It is a wastage or loss of memory due to, or maybe of free memory is not being reused or not able to allocate for any other processes. There are two categories of fragmentation. One is internal fragmentation, which is size of allocated memory is greater than requested memory. So difference of the memory is wastage. As it is internal part of the memory allocated, so named internal fragmentation, it cannot be stopped by dynamic partitioning. And the second part is external fragmentation. So total memory space that exists to satisfy a request, but it is not contiguous. As in this example, let's just consider that here we are having 10 MB of size left flank and 5 MB of size blank. And suppose there's a process P3 requiring a memory of 12 MB. Even though we are having 10 MB left and 5 MB left, total is of 15 MB, but we are not able to accommodate 12 MB inside the RAM. So just because of what? Those blocks are not contiguous. Means there is a block which is accommodated by the some other process. As it is unallocated part of memory, so named external fragmentations, it can be cured by compaction, paging, and segmentation and segmented paging. And the allocation is maintained in table, and that table is called as partition allocation table. Now again, we are taking an example to clear the concepts of fragmentation. So this is what our OS residing in the main memory, and it is of 25 MB of size. Later we are having 40 MB size. Next part is of 10 MB, 50 MB, 30 MB, and 40 MB. And process P1 is of 35, P2 is 2 MB, P3 is 40 MB, and P4 is 80 MB. Since P1 requires 35 MB of size, so the memory management unit, the device, will look into the memory of partitions having greater than the size of the required or requested process. Once it found, it accommodate that very process into the memory. So here in this very block, P1 got accommodated. So remaining 5 MB is there. In this part, P2 is got accommodated. 8 MB is left flank. Here in this part, P3 got accommodated and 10 MB of size is left blank. So as we can see that there's the memory having 5 MB, 8 MB, and 10 MB, which is unused. 5, 8, and 10, which is unused. So these are what? Internal fragmentation. And as we are having another process which is of 80 MB of size, and we are left with 30 MB and 40 MB. In total, it is of 70 MB, even though we are not able to accommodate this process at any other portion. So these portions are left blank, and that too unused portion of the memory. So such portion are considered as external fragmentation. I hope till now we clear. These are the references for the contents.